message or post your name and number to GB03 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 5 p.m. on Friday the 29th of March. Full terms and privacy notice at gbnews.com/win. Please check the closing time if watching or listening on demand. Good luck.
Dubes & Co. Weekdays from 6 p.m.
Get this right, we all know by now, don't we, that so many NHS workers are abused by people that they're trying to help. We'll all agree that that is pretty damn disgraceful, but what do we do about it? Because now some London hospitals are looking at whether or not they should be able to ban people that do this for a year from those hospital facilities. Is that the way forward? Daniel, do you like this? No abuse, no excuse, that is the campaign?
There's no other choice for most people. It's either the NHS or nothing. And if you're going to take that monopolistic power, then you need, I think, you have responsibilities towards people. You can't cut them off. So there are ways in which, of course, you can bring criminal charges against them. If they've committed a criminal offence, that's fine. They might even be locked up in jail. But what you can't do is cut off health services because you're the only supplier.
Well, yes, I think you can cut it off, and you should cut it off. London is very different from everywhere else, and it goes back to a conversation about immigration. The majority of nurses in London are either African or Filipino, and it harks back to their nature and their culture. When you're younger, your parents look after you. When you're older, you look after them. They don't go into homes. So there's a way that a threshold of tolerance they have that is above and beyond most people. So, because I found like when I was younger, most of the nurses were white. Now they work in hospitals in Ascot and Somerset. London is the war zone. I have seen horrific things happen to nurses, and they stay. They show up for work. There's a protection they are owed, beyond owed. And if you abuse something that's offered to you as a part of your citizenship, there should be a penalty for that. For the same reason,
you're obliged to use it. There's no offer involved in the NHS.
But there is an offer, because at the end of the day, like you earn it, you figure out how to get money and go private. So just because you've created something that gives you... No, it's easy. If it's easy...
That's an impossible solution.
They've created something that's kind and easy and beneficial to all, indeed. But it's a good thing for all. Do not abuse it. That simple.
Good morning, I'm Peter Andre alongside Ellie Costello, and this is Saturday Morning Live.
It certainly is. So good to have your company with us this morning. And as always, we have an action-packed show for you.
Sure do.
We're going to have all of the day's top stories with our panel, the CEO and founder of the Youth Vote UK, Alex Cairns, and entrepreneur and social commentator, Joanna Jarju.
And we'll be looking into that Photoshop fail from the Princess of Wales. OK, she admitted she liked experimenting with photo editing, so is all the media attention warranted?
Yeah, do let us know what you think. Tomorrow, of course, is St Patrick's Day, so we thought, why not see what we can get up to at home baking goods you can make to celebrate. We're going to be joined by the author and baker extraordinaire, Mel Johnson, to find out more.
Exciting. And, of course, we'll be meeting this week's greatest Britain. I love this part of the show, the inspiring woman being the charity Scotty's Little Soldiers, which offers support for children whose parents have died while serving in the armed forces. It's going to be great.
And we've got a real treat for you this morning. Do you remember these boys? Yes, we're going to be sitting down with a boy band legend, the one and only Oritse Williams from JLS. We are so excited to hear what he's getting up to. He's a good friend of yours, isn't he?
He's a good friend, and he's doing a great solo career.
He is.
You've got to pump him up.
Yeah.
He's great.
He says this new solo career is going to bring him back to his roots. We're really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I am too. And don't forget that we want to hear from you, so please email us at gbviews@gbnews.com.
But before we do anything else, Tatiana Sanchez has all your news headlines.
Ellie, Peter, thank you very much. Your top stories from the GB newsroom. Tory MPs have reportedly held secret talks to oust the Prime Minister and install Penny Mordaunt as leader of the Conservatives. According to The Telegraph, a group of right-wing Conservative MPs believe Ms Mordaunt should lead the Tories into the next election. A meeting is understood to have taken place between leading figures on the Tory MPs and MP supporters of the Commons leader. Well, this comes after a week in which former Tory Deputy Chairman Lee Anderson joined the Reform UK party and Rishi Sunak ruled out a general election in early May. Senior political analyst at Orthodox Conservatives David Moore told GB News the change might be what's needed to boost public confidence.
The Conservative Party have had so many leaders. I think people are frustrated, the membership is frustrated, the voters are frustrated, in fact apathetic. A lot of voters are very worried about getting out to vote at the moment, and we need some certainty, quite frankly, and we need strong Conservative leadership. Now, some people think and see Penny Mordaunt as a vehicle for that, with a strong background in defence. At the moment, a lot of people are very unhappy at the moment, and the membership especially. But at the moment, the general election is looming. This could be in May, this could be in October. But the Conservatives need to come into that election united.
Wales will know who their next First Minister is today. That's due to be announced in the next few minutes. Voting closed on Thursday. The successful candidate will succeed Mark Drakeford. Vaughan Gething and Jeremy Miles have been competing to replace Mr Drakeford, who officially stands down next week. Sadiq Khan has issued a plea for Liberal Democrat and Green supporters to back him as he seeks a third term as the Mayor of London. In a pitch to fellow progressives, Mr Khan's launching what he describes as a love letter campaign as he visits Kingston in southwest London today to persuade supporters of other parties to lend him their votes in the election. The Mayor said he was under no illusion about his chances, saying he could lose to the Conservative Susan Hall due to changes in the voting system. Thousands of shoppers won't get their online groceries delivered today. Sainsbury's have announced that they can't fulfil most of their online orders because they're experiencing a technical difficulty. The company also says that some stores are also going to be affected, and they say they're working hard to fix the issue. Well, traffic has already been building up with the first ever planned daytime closure of the M25. Drivers have been warned to stay away from a 5-mile stretch in Surrey between junctions 10 and 11, which has been shut until 6 a.m. on Monday. This is the first scheduled daytime all-lane shutdown on the M25 since it opened in 1986. Travel expert Simon Calder says it needs to be done.
The main problem is that A3 M25 junction, just a couple of miles away from here. When it was built in the 1980s, it was fine, but now there's so much traffic using it, and 80% of the traffic on the A3 wants to switch to the M25. You're always getting hold-ups there, very high accident rate there, and so therefore, to clear it all up, they're going to widen things, give people extra opportunities to join and leave the motorways.
And a manhunt is still underway after 2 people were injured in suspected crossbow attacks in London last night. The Metropolitan Police says a man and a woman were shot with crossbow bolts in separate but linked attacks. The 44-year-old woman was struck in the head and a 20-year-old man in the neck within 200 feet of one another. Both victims were treated for their injuries in hospital, but they've been discharged. Officers are carrying out urgent work to identify a suspect. For the latest stories, you can sign up to GB News Alerts by scanning the QR code on your screen, or you can go to gbnews.com/alerts. Now it's back to Ellie and Pete.
Thanks, Tatiana, and welcome to Saturday Morning Live. The time is 6 minutes past 10. Now, decorate your bathroom or something. That is the advice given to thousands of drivers following the unprecedented closure of the M25, with many anticipating gridlock traffic over the weekend.
Yes, drivers are being warned to stay away from a 5-mile stretch in Surrey between junctions 10 and 11, which is now shut until 6 a.m. on Monday.
Well, it's the first scheduled daytime all-lanes shutdown on the M25 since it first opened in 1986.
Well, GB News reporter Ray Addison is there. So what's going on, Ray? How are you doing?
Good
You
morning
right?
to you both. Well, I'm alongside the I'm good, thank you. I'm alongside the A320, which is going through the very leafy village of Ottershaw in Surrey. Now, Ottershaw actually features in the H.G. Wells science fiction classic War of the Worlds, of course, about that famous invasion. And locals here tell me they feel like they're being invaded by traffic. This is normally quite a quiet location. The population here in this village is actually under 3,000 people. But today, tomorrow, and up to 6 o'clock on Monday morning, they're being warned by National Highways that they could face up to 6,000 vehicles travelling through here every hour. Now, why is that a problem? Well, here, if you just pan around here, we can see this is actually the home to quite a major ambulance station. And I've been speaking to locals, and they've been telling me that they're seriously concerned that if they do end up with gridlocked traffic, that they could face problems. These ambulances, paramedics, could face problems in responding to any emergencies. Down the end of this road down here, we have a big roundabout which could potentially become blocked, they fear, and therefore they're encouraging people to heed that advice, to take alternate routes. Stay at home, they say, but do not travel through our village.
OK, Ray Addison, thank you very much indeed. That is a bit of a worry, but for now, at least, there's not gridlock traffic behind you. Do let us know if that affects you today, gbnews@gbnews.com. But for now, to look through the top stories of today, we are delighted to be joined by CEO and founder of the Youth Vote UK, Alex Cairns, and entrepreneur and social commentator, Joanna Jarju. Really good to see you both this morning. And we wanted to start with this story, the front page of the Daily Mail this morning. Pretty extraordinary, isn't it? A plot to crown Penny Mordaunt as the next leader of the Tory party, the fourth this would be since the 2019 elections. It's extraordinary, Joanna.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's not really a surprise. It seems as if every 2 seconds there's kind of a plot for a takedown of a prime minister. Even, you know, one of the most popular ones, Boris Johnson, had a plot by Rishi Sunak, and it seems as if it's kind of all coming full circle now. And some would say that it's karma, really, for Rishi Sunak. And I'd imagine that a lot of the people who are actually supporting Penny Mordaunt or looking for a takedown of Rishi Sunak are also massive supporters of Boris Johnson and kind of come from that camp. But then at the same time, I look at Penny Mordaunt and, you know, as somebody who's not a Tory supporter, I kind of think that she seems like more of the decent side of the Tory party, quite level-headed. Obviously, you know, she's fulfilled certain roles. We all saw her in the coronation, you know, holding the thing. And, you know, out of, you know, all of them, it seems as if she's the most kind of decent, really. So it's quite surprising to me that people who are at the right side of the party and the moderates are coming in to bring her in, because it seems as if, you know, they're trying to oust Rishi Sunak because he's not extreme enough for them when it comes to, you know, tackling migration and about Rwanda. And I just wonder if the people who are at the right side of the party will actually get what they want from Penny Mordaunt.
But I think you've made a really good point there, which is that she does have that broad appeal, doesn't she, across the party? And that's what the Tory party needs right now, isn't it, Alex?
Yeah, but I actually think that they've been sitting at home watching House of Cards, because the fact that they're about to ditch another Prime Minister is actually mental. Like I was saying backstage to Joanna, I reckon there's going to be a Netflix documentary after the election. It's going to be all of this plotting. And the reality is, like, it doesn't matter who they put in as leader, right? Like, the proof is in the pudding. Like, they're trying to get migration figures down. They're trying to help people get on the housing ladder. They're trying to get interest rates down. None of that's happening. So it doesn't really matter who's Prime Minister, right? They could put whoever and it won't make a difference. So
do you not think surprised. It will?
No, I think it's too late. They're behind in the polls. They're doing this because they want to regroup the narrative. I get it, but it's not going to make a difference who's Prime Minister.
But what if they get that bit right, but then they get something else wrong? I mean, who is going to get everything right? Has there ever been someone that's got everything right? And this is the problem. So, you know, they might solve one problem, but then there's another problem. So
it just seems as if the Tory party overall have become more divided than we've ever kind of witnessed. And I think that the Tory party themselves and the MPs don't have enough confidence in themselves. I mean, over 60 of them are stepping down for the next general election. And some of them, you know, people like Theresa May, real veterans. And then obviously you've got some people that maybe some of the nation might actually be quite glad to see the back of, like Matt Hancock and Kwasi Kwarteng, that we haven't had the best experiences with. So I think that the Tory party almost need to take some time, maybe take a step back and regroup and actually figure out, you know, what their actual principles are so that we know who they even are, because they're so divided at the moment.
Do you know what it is about Penny Mordaunt? I think it might have been the coronation and the sword. She just strikes me as the Prime Minister that you would see on an ITV drama. She looks prime ministerial. She does have
She'd
that
be
vibe,
like
you're
Cobra,
right.
wouldn't she, on Sky? 100%. Yeah.
So, I mean, I wonder if that carries over to the Tory party. What do you think at home? Do you think if Rishi Sunak were to be replaced, is Penny Mordaunt the way to go? Do let us know what you think. gbnews@gbnews.com.
Yeah, and I'd like to talk about Kate Middleton. Because I'm really confused here. Everyone, where is she? What is she doing? Why did she Photoshop this? Where this, what that? Why can't we just leave her alone? What is going on here? What's your thoughts on this?
I think it's tough because naturally, you know, if I was looking at this and we didn't have all the context of everything that's gone on in the royal family previously, I would be saying leave her alone. But at the same time, I think that the royal family have made a huge mistake by setting a certain precedent when it comes to Meghan. And I think that when you've kind of branded Meghan as the one that's demanding privacy, but then not really realising that she's got a particular role and a duty and has to kind of be paraded in front of us no matter what, then you end up in a position now when Kate really needs the privacy and she can't get it because we're so used to being in their business and finding out everything about them, even after they've given birth. You know, they've set that precedent.
I get
when
that,
the women...
but what if it's a mental health issue? What if it's something like that? Or a long, ongoing physical thing that she doesn't want to talk about and she's never talked about? You know, are we not just pushing someone who might be in a vulnerable position, pushing them to... you know, to the end of their tether.
Yeah.
But you know what it is? It's because everyone sees the royal family as like ambassadors. So they're thinking, well, she's at home. And some people controversially will be like, well, we need to see her. She's like the face of multiple charities. They're basically, unfortunately, with the royal family, if they're not seen, people are like, well, what's the point of them? And I know that sounds harsh, but, you know, this is not some person that she can't work from home. Like, she has to be in front of, like, the media. She has to be representing charities. And she might be struggling, but unfortunately, if you think about the royal family, to be honest, a lot of them are quite... You know, people don't like them, but Kate, a lot of people like her. So the royal family brand are thinking, well, we need her, like, her and William are, like, the future.
Well, she's been described as the golden goose.
100%.
I mean, they rely on her a lot, don't they? I mean, she's front page of the newspapers whenever she steps out. It's been amazing, actually, seeing photos of her this morning, how much we all miss her. You know, we haven't seen her since... just after Christmas, it does have an impact on the royal family not having Kate front and centre.
Just wish they'd leave her alone.
Do you?
Yeah, because
you think it's really unfair, don't you?
Well, she's just, you know, she's so loved and clearly there's something going on that she doesn't want people to know about. So can we just...
What do you think about with that whole Photoshop saga that happened? I'm not going to call it a scandal because I think actually there's been a lot of sympathy for her. What do you think about her being the one to apologise for that? Do you think that was fair?
Well, then you get the conspiracy theorists who say it wasn't her that was apologising, it was someone else. I mean, we don't know. With all these sorts of things, you only know what you see. You don't know the actual truth of what's going on. I don't know, something about her, she's really special to everyone.
She is
and I
really
just wish people would just give her a break, let her talk when she's ready.
I wish that they would actually protect her a bit more and realise, because it seems as if, their PR has just been terrible, really, when it comes to protecting the Princess of Wales. And having her take the rap for it, even if she did do it, I think that was quite unfair, really. And they should have had, you know, a bit of a better strategy to... And I think it would have been a better strategy to give us a bit, because let's not forget that the King has actually divulged a lot when it comes to his health issues. So it would have been good just to get a bit and then actually kind of play off that sympathy if you want to be good and kind of strategic.
And can you have it both ways, I suppose, Joanna, because the King, as you say, is being so open and honest about his diagnosis, but then we have Catherine, Princess of Wales, still being quite traditional and wanting complete privacy. Can you have it both ways? I promise we'll come back to this in just a moment, but just some breaking news I want to get your reaction to. The Economy Minister, Vaughan Gething, has been elected as the next Welsh Labour leader. He's going to succeed Mark Drakeford as the First Minister of Wales. He will succeed Mark Drakeford, who has held the position since 2018. I mean, Vaughan Gething in Wales is a huge name, isn't he, Alex?
Yeah, he is. I mean, he was the health minister during COVID. A lot of people trust him. You know, he's quite, you know, on the ground. A lot of people like him. So I think that'll be good. But interestingly, I think in the next election, I still think that in Wales, unlike the rest of the country, people were really unhappy about the 20-mile-an-hour situation. Some people think that Wales were too harsh on lockdown. So, again, I like him, but I think he is still a bit of a Marmite figure, though, to be honest.
OK. All right, well, really good to get your response to that breaking news that Vaughan Gething is the next First Minister of Wales. That has been announced in Cardiff this morning. Are we going to Cardiff? Yes, we are. This isn't live, but these are pictures from a little bit earlier on this morning.
Well, thank you. Bore da pawb, a diolch a Carolyn and Joe for the introduction to the event. And thank you to the Welsh Labour staff and the team and the Procedures Committee who have run a typically well-organised campaign. The first thing to do is to pay tribute to Mark. Much has already been said about Mark as a details man, but he was the right leader at the right time in the pandemic. And it is true that we will be forever in his debt to his forensic approach to public policy through that time. But too little is said about the heart that went into it too. The deep and unwavering devotion to fairness, to Wales as a community, as a people, as a fabric of family. At the hardest of times, he made us feel safer, he made us feel proud, and he always made everyone aware that we each have a part to play.
That's a victory speech there from Vaughan Gething, who is going to succeed Mark Drakeford as Wales'
And he looks
First
good.
Minister. And he does.
What's with everyone looking like actors and actresses at the moment?
Do we have our own Barack Obama moment?
I mean, he has just made history. He's the first black First Minister of Wales.
Yeah.
I mean, it's significant.
He's made it look good.
Yeah, he does. What do you make of it, Joanna?
I think it's great. You know, I think that the Labour Party in particular, and as a member, I don't think that they've had that much diversity when it comes to their leadership. And actually, particularly, I've noticed it more when it comes to women leaders. So it's good to kind of get that, you know, at least some diversity when it comes to race within this. I'd be interested to see what he does. I think that it will be quite difficult for him, like Alex said, in Wales, just because I feel as if whenever there's kind of a branding, especially over the last 14 years, about what Labour can possibly do, people say, well, look at Wales, you know, they're failing in X, Y and Z. That's kind of the thing that the Tories always use. But hopefully, going into the next election, he can kind of keep that and get a bit more support as well from Westminster and be able to do a lot more as well for the Labour Party.
Alex, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree, actually. I think a lot of people will be like, oh, you know, the change candidate, I'm sure he'll come in. You know, I think Mark Drakeford, I mean, he doesn't look like him, right? Mark Drakeford was quite boring, like, he was a bit mundane, like, and yeah, I know that's quite harsh to say, but I think, you know, it'll be interesting to see how it gets on, yeah.
Yeah, well, if you're watching and listening to us in Wales, do let us know what you think. gbnews@gbnews.com. Alex, Joanna, thank you very much indeed. You're with us in the next hours. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Right, coming up, we'll be sitting down with this week's Greatest Britain. You know it's my favourite part of the show. But up next, it's time for the latest in Raw News with our favourite Raw correspondent and a very dear friend of mine, Jenny Bond. This is Saturday Morning Live on GB News, Britain's news channel.
2024, a battleground year.
The year the nation decides.
As the parties gear up their campaigns for the next general election.
Who will be left standing when the British people make one of the biggest decisions of their lives?
Who will rise?
And who will fall? Let's find out together. For every moment, the highs, the lows, the twists and turns.
We'll be with you for every step of this journey.
In 2024, GB News is Britain's election channel.
GB News is the home of free speech. We were created to champion it, and we deliver it day in, day out.
Free speech allows us all to explore and debate openly the issues most important to us, our families, and of course, the British people.
Having challenging conversations to enlighten each other.
Which is why we hear all sides of the argument.
We are the People's Channel.
We will always stand by the freedom to express yourself.
On TV, radio and online.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mark Dolan Tonight, weekends from 9 p.m.
I've personally been very torn on whether Prince Harry should have full police protection when he's in the United Kingdom. On the one hand, why should taxpayers fork out for somebody that's left the country and the institution? He is no longer a working, serving royal. But I don't think it matters. He is one of the most famous men in the world, and whether he's a royal or not, he is an ambassador for this country. And he still does good. Charitable causes, the Invictus Games, and he is still a nice and charming guy with a heart. And whilst he has left the royal family and departed these shores, he was and remains the son of King Charles. That is a biological fact. Well, let's hope so. And it wasn't his choice to be born into royalty. It wasn't his choice to be the son of the king. And for that reason, I think he should have equal police protection to his brother William when he is in this country. He couldn't be a more high-profile figure, and unfortunately, like all the royals, Harry will be a target for some very bad people. I fear that if, God forbid, anything happened to him or his family, the authorities would have blood on their hands. So, it's not often that I back Prince Harry, but on this one, he has my support. Look what happened to his poor mum, killed in a Paris tunnel in the 1990s with an allegedly drunk chauffeur. A top royal security insider recently told me that Diana would still be with us today if she had had top royal protection at that time. So let's not make the same mistake twice. Prince Harry needs full protection and the best we've got. Yes, he might be a numpty, but he's our numpty.
Good morning, welcome back to Saturday Morning Live, and spring is in the air.
Finally.
Na 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 na. A social chance to win a garden gadget package, which is a bit of a mouthful there, a shopping spree and an incredible £12,345 in tax-free cash. Here's how you can make all those prizes yours.
We've got cash, treats and a spring shopping spree to be won in a great British giveaway. You could win an amazing £12,345 in tax-free cash. Plus, there's a further £500 of shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite store. We'll also give you a gadget package to use in your garden this spring. That includes a games console, a pizza oven and a portable smart speaker, so you can listen to GB News on the go. For another chance to win the vouchers, the treats and £12,345 in tax-free cash, text GBWIN to 84902. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. Or post your name and number to GB03 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 5 p.m. on Friday the 29th of March. Full terms and privacy notice at gbnews.com/win. Please check the closing time if watching or listening on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck indeed. Now, it's been a big week for the royal household, from Meghan Markle relaunching her Instagram brand, the Princess of Wales trying her hand at Photoshop, and Prince Harry and Prince William separately praising Diana's legacy for the charity's 25th anniversary. It's been a busy week.
It sure has. So who better to unpick all the latest than the royal commentator and friend of mine, Jenny Bond. How are you? Lovely?
Very well, thank you, Pete. Yeah, you're looking good, both of you.
Oh, thank you very much, and you too. So, OK, the feuding brothers, let's talk about this. Harry and William, are they ever going to make up? I mean, it just seems to be, one minute they seem like they're going to get it back together, then the next minute they're completely separated again. What's your thoughts?
Well, I think this is the clearest illustration that this relationship is going absolutely nowhere. I mean, they couldn't even appear virtually at the same event, the Diana Legacy Awards, and that means a great deal to them. They're both very supportive of that awards, whatever it is, organisation. And they decided, I think it was probably William decided, that he couldn't even appear in the same room with Harry on a screen from California. So William spoke first, and then Harry appeared virtually. What a sad situation, and how desperate their mum would have been. I personally think that she would have found a way some time ago to sort this out, and maybe the rift would never have happened, but I'm sure she would have knocked their heads together and said, come on, boys, you've got to sort this out.
It also seems when our Queen was here, things seemed a lot more sort of together. It seems to be so much separation going on.
Well, they've in tricky waters, it has to be said. These first 3 months have been desperately sad. We have the William and Harry saga, but now they are looking very thin on the ground. I don't think that's a problem in itself with the royal family. I don't buy into this whole idea that the monarchy is in crisis. I think we'll come through this, just as we have over 35 years I've been reporting on this family. There'll be many, many crises, and it will come good, I think. But it is a very changing picture with social media the way it is, and that is an evil place, particularly, I think, when it comes to celebrity and the royals. And I personally feel so sad that Catherine has had to at least be made aware of what is being said about her on social media. And this breaks my heart, because I just think this is a woman in the prime of life who has been cut down, felled in some way that's taken her out of the public gaze for 3 months. And she deserves the time and the space. And she deserves just not to have people speculating about her health, her innards, her body, her mind. It's too much.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying before, you know, there could be a mental health issue going on or a long-term physical health problem. She might not want to talk about. She doesn't have to talk about everything, you know. She's still a human being at the end of the day. And I just feel that everyone's sort of pushing and pushing and pushing, and she should just be left alone. That's my opinion.
Well, I agree with you absolutely. She is a human being, and that is a very public role she has. She's in a goldfish bowl. I mean, I don't know how any of us would survive the scrutiny that the royal family have to withstand.
Jenny, I wanted to ask you about Meghan Markle's new brand, American Riviera Orchard, and more specifically the timing of that announcement, because it was quite remarkable, wasn't it, really? An hour before the Diana Legacy Awards, this went live on Instagram. Do you think this was a coincidence, or do you think that was calculated from Meghan and Team Meghan?
But, you know, I am not a conspiracy theorist. I refuse to be put in that corner. So I think the best of people, if I possibly can. It is slightly strange, but, you know, probably whenever she launched that website, there would have been criticism. There would have been some royal event going on, and people would say, oh, I mean, she wasn't going to try and upstage her own husband, was she? And Harry was taking part in that ceremony as well. So I don't think it was vindictive at all on Meghan's part. And I really wish her well. What a brilliant website it looks. It's exactly what she should be doing. She's great at all that stuff.
See, that's why we love you, Jenny. She always positive.
Yes.
Never
a bit like you in that way.
Never says a bad thing about anyone. That's why we love you.
Oh, Jenny, lovely to see you. Thank you so much for your company this morning. Thank you very much indeed. Do let us know what you make about any of that, whether it's Meghan Markle's new lifestyle brand. You know, she's going to be selling things like jams and spreads and glasses, things like that. But, to be fair, as what Jenny just said, when Harry and Meghan left the royal family, they said they wanted to be financially independent. So, to be fair to her, she started a business.
Getting out there and doing it.
Yeah,
that's
and
what I say.
That's how you do it. That's how you make money.
You've got to think, if people sit around and don't do anything, people criticise. So when you're out there trying to go for it...
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's not a bad thing.
Anyway.
And for many people, I'm sure, they would say it's better that she's making jam than making Netflix documentaries about the royal family. But do let us know what you think. gbnews@gbnews.com.
Which would put her in the pickle.
Which would put her in a pickle. Very good.
I'm trying to think of
very
these as
good.
I'm going.
Do you know what? I actually see the cogs turning in your brain.
Oh, mate, that's what I'm doing. You can tell, can you?
I can't tell. Now, don't go anywhere, as we've still got lots to come on the show. Up next, we're going to be meeting the founder of Scotty's Little Soldiers. It's the most incredible charity. We're going to tell you about that in just a few moments. This is Saturday Morning Live on GB News.
Big news, big debates, big opinion. Patrick Christie's Tonight is the week's biggest show. Every weekday, 9 to 11 p.m, we've got the inside track on the day's top stories. There'll be sharp takes you won't get anywhere else. We will set the news agenda, not just follow it, and I want to bring you along for the ride. Whatever it is, we'll have our finger on the pulse. It's news, but it's this close to entertainment. Patrick Christie's Tonight, 9 to 11 p.m, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I'm Christopher Hope.
And I'm Gloria Di Piero, bringing you
PMQ's live here on GB News.
Whenever Parliament is in session on a Wednesday at midday, we'll bring you live coverage of Prime Minister's questions. We'll be asking our viewers and listeners to submit the questions that they would like to put to the Prime Minister, and we'll put that to our panel of top politicians in our Westminster studio.
That's PMQ's live here on GB News, Britain's election channel.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights from 7 p.m.
Our first question comes from Elliot. Elliot, hello.
Is Canada now an authoritarian state?
Elliot, I think it's been an authoritarian state for a while. I mean, under Trudeau, this is a new thing now, and this is coming from the Justice Minister, who has Arif Virani, and he has defended this new power for their online harms bill. That sounds familiar. We've got something quite similar. And they're saying they can now impose house arrest on someone who they think might commit a hate crime in the future, right? That's scary stuff, isn't it?
There's obviously a very dark side to this, because you can't, or in my opinion, you shouldn't be able to imprison somebody before they've done anything.
Right.
Well, it is Canada, and I know you in this country kind of respect Canada as a country. America didn't even know it was a country until recently, and I think that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to show themselves to be different than America.
I think America has a responsibility to invade. You know what? I do.
You know, you're kidding, but it may come down to this, or this may just be yeah, maybe.
Well, I just think it's ridiculous that the idea of arresting someone... I mean, our government's bad enough, and the Scottish government's out of control, the Irish government's out of control. They're all talking about... I mean, the Irish government's got a new hate crimes bill where they're talking about they can seize your phone if they suspect you might have some material that could potentially stir up hatred. I mean, for God's sake, what does that mean? Your phone's full of that kind of thing.
Well, the government knows that.
Yeah.
But you're right. But it has to do with the bigger picture, which is Canada has sucked itself in on the big team world. Sorry, I'm going to say it. It's big team world. And what they're doing, this is not even a free speech issue. This is just about silencing dissent against the Canadian government. It has nothing to do with openness and talk, whatever. It's like saying, we don't want these people to spread their opinions.
Dangerous opinions. That's what speech codes and hate speech laws always do.
Good morning, welcome back. You are watching Saturday Morning Live. We've had breaking news in the past 20 minutes or so that Vaughan Gething has been elected as the next Welsh First Minister. Wanted your reaction on that. Loads of you getting in touch. Adrian says, as someone from Wales, the appointment of the crook Vaughan Gething as First Minister for Wales is a disaster. Labour has failed the people of Wales.
Raw photos. Now, interestingly enough, Duncan says, leave Kate alone. A lot of celebrities need time out of the public eye after an abdominal tuck. It's perfectly normal.
I don't know if she's had an abdominal tuck.
No. I don't know if he symbolically means that people need time out when something happens.
Yeah.
Maybe he meant that.
Well, I don't think she's had plastic surgery. And Malcolm says formal royal pictures should be taken and issued by professional photographers. It's simple. Then you wouldn't have this debacle. And Geraldine says it's disgraceful how she is being hounded. Same as what you
agree with you, Geraldine.
Yeah. Do keep those views coming in on any of the stories that we're talking about today. gbviews@gbnews.com. We do love to hear from you. Now, on this show, we're all about shining a light on amazing people who do amazing things. And this week's Greatest Britain is Nikki Scott.
Yep, Nikki is the founder of Scotty's Little Soldiers, an incredible charity which offers bereavement support and care for children whose parents have died while serving in the armed forces.
Yes, Nikki founded the charity in 2010 after her husband, Lee Scotty Scott, was killed in 2009 while on active service in Afghanistan with the 2nd Royal Tank Regiment.
Now Nikki's story is heartbreakingly, but unfortunately not unusual, as Scotty's Little Soldiers are currently providing bereavement support for over 650 military children and have pledged to support over 1,000 bereaved military children by 2030. That's incredible.
It is just the most incredible work. So, Nikki, welcome to Saturday Morning Live, and a huge congratulations. You are this week's Greatest Britain, and you are truly incredible, the work that you do. Tell us a little bit more about Scotty's Little Soldiers, because this is so important to you and so personal.
Yeah, so it's not just me, by the way. There's like a team behind me and our supporters are incredible. But I set up Scotty's because when Lee was first killed, obviously, you know, our world fell apart. I was 28. I just thought, life's done. You know, Kai was 5, Brooke was 7 months. And then as time went on, I started to realise that, you know, I started to think about how many other bereaved children are going through this. There was such limited support for bereaved military children. So many great UK military charities, but real limited support for the children. So, yeah, didn't quite know what I was doing or how to do it, but had the passion and drive. And, yeah, and the response has been incredible. And there are so many children.
You've seen the most incredible photos here of Lee. You make the most beautiful couple. How do you even begin to explain to your children what happened to their dad?
the hardest thing you do. And actually, I feel like even now, it's like nearly 15 years on, it can still, you still have those moments where it just feels unreal. And actually, you tell your child once, but actually, they were 5 and Brooke was 7 months. So I've probably had to tell them like loads of times throughout their life. And as they grow and they understand more, they ask more questions and they want to know, you can't just say he was killed in action. They now want to know where, how, why, what happened that morning, so you're going over it again and again and again as they grow.
And at what point, because I've always wondered this, when someone has gone through a bereavement like yourself, at what point do you turn around and think, well, OK, I've been able to sort of do as best as I can to overcome this bereavement. Now I'm going to go and help others. At what point did that happen?
It's all a blur, if I'm honest. I was in a really dark place, and because I had 2 young children, I was having to get out of bed. Kai was like, I want Cocoa Pops, so I was having to get up. But I didn't want to be here, if I'm honest. I was really in the dark. Lee was just, he was 26, and he was just a real life, full of life. But I went on holiday 9 months after Lee was killed. I didn't want to go. That was another. I was like, I don't want to go on holiday and watch families all having fun. But my cousin was like, come on, you're going to come. And it was that point I saw Kai laughing in the swimming pool with his cousins, and I kind of had it. It sounds so corny, but I had that, like, Lee would be going nuts. Like, I need to help the children. And then, started to wonder how many others had experienced the death of a parent and weren't getting the right support.
It is so incredible to you, and it's such a testament to you that you were able to take your grief and your pain, and there was so much pain there, and put it and channel it into something as incredible as Scotty's Little Soldiers. It's a testament to your strength, and also the fact that you could see that there was a gap there where people needed support and help just like you. Yeah, and there still is, don't get me wrong. Like, we've done amazing work, offer so many different services now to these children, because actually it's not just about the death of their parent. It's also these, if you're living in a military gash, then that's your home, because I was living in an army house. That's Kai's school. I moved back to where my family were, so that was, you're just, when you're used to that military community where everyone around you serves, and then you're out of it. So Scotty's is about also bringing them back to that community again and being around others who truly understand what it's like.
And your children, obviously, are always going to be proud of their dad.
I hope so, yeah, definitely.
But on the flip side, too, they're going to be very proud of you, because what you're doing is you're both showing how both of you as parents do amazing things for your community and
thank you.
The people, and that's huge.
Yeah, and I think it's really important, if you don't mind me just quickly saying that Lee was killed in action, he served in the army, but Scotty's is very much about the military as a whole. So it doesn't matter if, if there's people out there listening, it doesn't matter whether it's RAF, Army, Navy, reserves, they all served our country. It doesn't matter whether they died by suicide, killed in action, illness, and even now supporting children of veterans as well, because they served our country. They deserve to have their children looked after. So that, it's just really important to say.
Nikki, how proud do you feel? Do you allow yourself to feel proud when you see? Can we get those pictures up again of Remembrance Day Sunday? And you will recognise this scene from Remembrance Day Sunday. You will see Scotty's Little Soldiers. Now I've said it to you, you'll see it every November. It's those black and yellow scarves, isn't it? And you always walk along at the back. There's a large group of you now.
Yeah.
You must look over and look at that sight of all those scarves and think, I did that. I've created this.
To be fair, there's not enough time to sit back and have many of those moments, but it does make the team really proud, especially when, it took a long time for us to get children and young people on that parade, and then we were put at the back. And then, we came to nearer the front where we belonged to be. So, and just to see the children, they're so proud of their parents' service. Oh. And it means so much to them to see people clapping and standing out there for hours.
Great photos.
It's just, it really is.
When she was so little.
Oh, it's incredible what you do. Nikki Scott, it is an absolute honour to meet you today.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything you do, and especially to those military children and all the support you give them. It's just the most wonderful initiative. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks for coming on. Yeah.
Now, lots more to come, but up next, we're going to be diving into the world of baking to see how you could celebrate St Patrick's Day tomorrow. Looking forward to that. And you're dressed in your greens. Wonderful.
Ready to eat.
This is Saturday Morning Live on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hello, a very good morning to you. It is a beautiful start to the weekend out there for many of us, but not for all. It's already turning cloudy in the west, and there will be spells of rain and showers spreading across the country throughout the day. Now, Scotland, northern and eastern England keep the bright skies into the afternoon, but elsewhere we have got those showers and the thickening cloud. The rain most persistent across Northern Ireland, that persistent rain reaching parts of western Scotland by the middle of the afternoon and certainly turning cloudy in many places. As a result, and after a fresh start to the day, it's not going to be as mild as it has been recently in the south, but it will be a touch milder across northern Scotland, feeling more pleasant with lighter winds and some bright spells. Nevertheless, overnight, those spells of rain across the country, heavy and persistent for a time, particularly across western hills. And by dawn, really it's a showery picture with a lot of cloud in the sky and an increased breeze as well. So as a result, a frost-free start tomorrow. Temperatures of 9 or 10 Celsius first thing, but it will be a gloomy start with a lot of low cloud covering hills and coasts. And we're going to see those outbreaks of rain steadily push eastwards. By the afternoon, the clouds do lift and break up, and as a result, we'll see some brighter interludes, but we'll also see some heavy showers developing. Just about anywhere could see a hefty downpour, but Western Scotland and Northern Ireland seeing more persistent rain at times.
GB News is the home of free speech. We were created to champion it, and we deliver it day in, day out.
Free speech allows us all to explore and debate openly the issues most important to us, our families, and of course, the British people.
Having challenging conversations to enlighten each other.
Which is why we hear all sides of the argument.
We are the People's Channel.
We will always stand by the freedom to express yourself.
On TV, radio and online.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
I think the most exciting bit for me is talking to people.
People who I think are ignored often by the major news channels. We're going to give news they want to hear. There's a voice there that needs to be heard. I think there's a chance here for a diversity of opinion to be expressed, which you don't find elsewhere. It's really exciting.
We don't hold back. We're free to say how decisions that are taken here
affect us all around the country. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I'm Michelle Dewberry, and I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'd much rather hear what you have to say. So, send in your opinions to gbviews@gbnews.com. Keep them clean, and you never know, I might read them out. With my panel here on Jubes & Co, we debate, we get stuck into the issues of the day on a show where all views are welcome, especially yours. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. Now, it could be a huge weekend for Ireland. The rugby today, St Patrick's Day tomorrow and a bank holiday on Monday. This could be a massive weekend of celebrations for the Irish. Well, GB News Northern Ireland reporter Doogie Beattie, what is going on?
Well, good morning, Britain. Yes, good morning, Peter. Good morning, Ellie. And welcome to Instonians Rugby Club, because this is where rugby is really made. And you're quite correct. This could be Six Nations today, St Patrick's Day tomorrow, and Hangover Monday if it all goes to plan. And rugby is really a massive sport here in Ireland, and it's part of the reason that we are constantly in the top 3 in the world. And actually joining me now is a man that may be partly responsible for this type of thing. This is Roy Lawton. He is known as Rugby Roy, and he takes these kids from a very early age here. Roy, why is Irish rugby so powerful?
Well, we are investing in grassroots rugby as soon as they can walk almost. We have rugby tots here, and they basically start from 2 years of age. Now, obviously, it's non-contact at that age, and then they move into primary school. P1, 2 and 3 is non-contact, and then from P4 onwards, we introduce them to the contact session.
Well, there you go. From an early age, from toddlers, we have them playing rugby. And of course, the GAA trains them to catch a ball above their head as well. So it makes it all even more interesting and makes it much more of a better weekend for ourselves if Ireland can do the job with Scotland today.
Well, good luck, guys. The weather, I'm hoping the weather will be better for you. And in Australia, we have rugby, of course, but we also have Aussie rules, which basically means No rules.
Anything goes.
Anything goes.
Yeah, well, Dougie Beattie, really good to see you. Thank you very much indeed. We're going to stick with the St Patrick's Day theme now because this weekend is a weekend of celebrations for the Irish, but we can all get involved, perhaps, with a spot of baking. So we're delighted now to be joined by author and baker Melanie Johnson. And I wish smell-o-vision was a thing because the smell right now in the studio is absolutely incredible.
And that's just Ellie.
Oh, stop. Well, you smell good as well. But Mel, welcome to Saturday Morning Live. And what have you brought in for us? This looks amazing.
So I wanted to bring a selection. So because of St Patrick's Day, I had to bring a Guinness bunt. So this one is chocolate. So it looks like a Guinness, a glass of Guinness. So it's got the white top.
It does.
And it's chocolate, and it's got the little tang of the Guinness actually in the cake itself. And then, of course, we have a Lamington bunt. Just especially made for Pete.
OMG.
Is that an Aussie thing?
It's an Aussie thing.
You don't understand how Australian that is. Lamington is... Oh, mate,
I hope I've got it right. I hope I've got it right.
Oh, so you've made all of these especially for us?
Absolutely.
Or you'll say, oh, we'll have to try some then. Should we have a little try?
Yeah,
Let's get straight in there. Should we try
which one would you
a little
like
bit?
to try?
I guess you want the Lamington.
Do you want to try the Lamington?
No, I was going to say, what is this one here?
That is rose, pistachio and chocolate.
Love that. And this...
And that's it's called a snickerdoodle, but it's actually like a donut. So
You'd like
you
it.
take it.
You're very welcome here. Pete's going to be very happy with you.
It feels like St Andre's Day.
Yeah.
OK, that wasn't funny.
What do you want to try, Pete? And
So
then
which
we'll...
one? Yes.
I'm going Lamington, if that's all right.
I really hope I've done it right. I hope
you will have done. We're going to do a little taste test now.
I mean, I was born in Australia, so you would think I'd get this right.
Oh!
You were born in Oz. Whereabouts?
Born in Oz, in Perth.
I love Perth.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you get an Australian influence in your baking?
Do you know, I think that we sort of take influences from everywhere. I just think there's no such thing as you have your whole life where you have different influences from different places, and I think we all just absorb everything and then we create our own style based on that.
Amazing.
So, would you like a slice? Or...
I would like some of the Guinness cake, please. I'm going to go Irish, please, Mel.
Okay.
I should have gone Irish, shouldn't I?
Pop it on here. And you had quite a romantic introduction to baking, didn't you? So you were born in Australia, but then you spent a lot of time in Austria, didn't you?
Yes, I grew up in Austria, and so in Austria, they have these are just like these. They have these everywhere. Everywhere you go, they have. It's called a Kugelhupf over there. But they have it. It's like half chocolate, half vanilla. Is it good? Is it yummy?
Oh, this is like Bake Off when you get the
I know. I feel like I've just had a handshake.
It's not often someone gets a Lamington right.
Oh, thank
really?
God. Thank God.
That looks amazing.
But then, look, so I've got that one. So that is super gooey.
Oh, it is. Look at that. Pop that on there.
Put that
on here. Okay. So this is the Guinness bunt. And it does look like a pint of Guinness.
Exactly.
So it's really moist and chocolatey. Can you see that on the inside? And then what's the frosting?
And that is a sour cream frosting.
Oh, yummy, yummy, yummy.
So it's good. But you can definitely taste the Guinness in it.
Can you?
Yes, definitely.
Well, I don't really like Guinness, but I'm going to give it a go.
It's not. It's just like a tang in the background, which is what makes it go so well with the sour cream frosting. So...
Yeah?
But it is...
That is very, very good, Mel.
But you didn't get a hug.
That frosting is
Or a
incredible.
handshake.
Too busy stuffing my face. I will give you a cuddle in just a moment. It's amazing.
I would love to try that donut.
The donut one.
All I want to do is...
Mel, you're amazing. But
Guys,
sorry,
honestly,
Austria.
It's hard for us to explain to you how nice this is when we're in the studio and we get treats like this, and we wish you could just have some.
Yes.
But not the Lamington, because that's mine.
It does smell absolutely amazing.
It's nothing like home baking, though. It does make such a huge difference. Everything tastes so much better when it's homemade and fresh, and you know that there's nothing in it. There's no preservatives, no additives, just what you've put into it, which I think is so lovely.
Well, it's so interesting that you say that, because we were talking about this in the briefing, weren't we, this morning? So...
Sorry, I can't hear. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just enjoying this.
He's too busy stuffing his face. I do a lot of baking, Mel, but I think generationally we are perhaps losing our love of baking.
Yes.
And our knowledge of baking. I'm one of the only people in my friendship group that bakes.
Oh, well, I just
mean, laugh at me.
It's the convenience. It's the convenience now, isn't it? Just because it's so easy to go and order something or to get it delivered, or, you know, you can just go to any supermarket. But it's a shame. But I guess, I mean, programs like the Bake Off, they do really encourage lots of people to bake.
And it's cathartic and it's fun, actually.
Completely.
It's actually nice for couples to do, because I was never into it at all. Yeah. And Emily, my wife, was very much into baking. I was into cooking, just cooking. And then one Saturday she said, let's just do something with the kids and let's bake together. And I loved it. Obviously, I preferred eating it.
Yes.
But it was just, yeah, it's a wonderful thing, I think, for families to do.
No, it's so special. But also, particularly with bunts, it's so easy to take a really simple recipe of just a sponge cake and you put it in one of these pretty tins and it suddenly turns into a celebration cake.
What is it about bunts that you love so much, Mel?
Well, mainly it's because I grew up having them. So for me, it's quite nostalgic. And, you know, my grandmother used to make them. So it's got a real sort of warm family feeling for me.
They just look so fun.
And they also just turn out, you can take an ordinary vanilla sponge cake and turn it into something that looks like a celebration.
This is amazing, this donut.
Well, the donut one.
Yeah, I want to try this.
I knew you'd like that one. Look, he wants that one now. Oh, look, I've got a slice cut for you. Don't mind my fingers.
Let me try a bit.
But that one's super pretty because it's got the marbled colours inside. So
Oh, yeah. Let's get some of that. Sorry, I'll stop my face and actually be useful. What camera would you like this up at? Would you like... Can you see the inside of that?
You can see the colours.
There you go. It's like a rainbow in there.
You know, if you had this thing where if you could have one food for the rest of your life,
yes,
I'd be very happy to have these for the rest of my life.
You'd be happy with the bunt.
Thank you.
And you do have an Irish connection as well, because obviously you spent time in Austria, spent time in Australia, but on St Patrick's Day tomorrow, and you lived in Ireland,
I lived in Ireland. My daughter was born in Ireland, so I have really lovely, fond memories of Ireland.
And baking in Ireland.
And baking in Ireland, I mean, it's just it's such a beautiful place. And the food in Ireland is amazing. It's just...
Focus on fresh, isn't it? Yes.
So
beautiful.
Yes,
Irish,
seasonal
beautiful
produce, everything's grown locally. It's, so St Patrick's Day is... I mean, why not celebrate with some Guinness?
There's nothing better, isn't there? You can see the influence. You've obviously travelled far and wide. You can see Australia, you can see Austria, you can see Ireland in your baking. And you have a focus on fresh produce and baking at home.
And baking at home. I just think baking is also very therapeutic because it's something that you can do with your children or you can do it for people. If someone's coming for afternoon tea, there's just nothing better than baking a cake for when they come. So it's about family and love and life and everything that all of that encompasses.
So this is your book here, Mel. This is Bunt. Tell us about the cookbook.
The book is my baby. It took me ages to write. So much love's gone into it. And I really explore everything that you can do with a bundt tin. And my favourite thing that I discovered is that you can make the most amazing panna cotta.
Oh, really?
In a bundt tin. And it just turns out looking so pretty.
Can you make one of these in a Thermomix?
I don't know about a Thermomix, but you can do it in an air fryer.
He's obsessed with
Thermomixes. In an air fryer?
Yeah, you can do an air fryer bundt.
No way.
Yeah.
I love that.
So
check that out.
Yes, on my Instagram I did one. It turned out really well, of course.
Well, Mel, it is absolutely wonderful to meet you.
I haven't tried the Guinness. I'm going to try
get
that
yourself
while
in
you
there.
do that.
Where can people get this cookbook?
Everywhere, Amazon or any bookshop.
Any good bookshop. There you go. Yes. Bunt the cookbook. Mel Johnson, really good to meet you this morning. Thank you so much indeed. Get yourself baking this weekend. There's no excuse. It's very easy. Just need a funky tin like this. God, that's heavier than I expected. Absolutely incredible. Thank you so much.
The Guinness one might be the best.
Yes,
yeah,
I thought
amazing. Wow.
Now, do stay with us. Lots more to come, including our Showbiz selection, more of today's top stories, and, of course, Oritse Williams from JLS will be joining us later on. Not one to miss.
Looks like things are heating up. Boxed boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. It was a bit of a brighter and drier start for most of us this morning. However, low pressure is very much returning towards the UK, bringing some rain and cloud pushing its way north and eastwards through the rest of Saturday. We can already start to see this across parts of Wales and southwest England with some very cloudy skies and that heavy rain pushing north and eastwards, particularly heavy across parts of Northern Ireland this afternoon. Parts of Scotland, northeast England and into southeast England as well, perhaps holding on to that sunshine for a little longer. And it'll be another mild day, temperatures widely above average, still 12 or 13 degrees, but perhaps not quite as mild as we've seen over recent days. Through the rest of Saturday, that band of rain continues to push its way north and eastwards overnight Saturday and into the start of Sunday, turning particularly heavy over parts of Scotland. We could even see some snow over the hills here. Despite a briefly drier interlude for the southern half of the UK, further rain pushes up from the southwest through the early hours of Sunday morning, leading to a very mild night here. Lows of only around 10 or 11 degrees, but perhaps a little cooler under any clearer skies further north. For Northern Ireland and parts of Scotland, it will be a much drier start to the morning again. Plenty of sunshine around, and further south, once that rain pushes out towards the east, it will be a drier afternoon here. Plenty of sunshine on offer for most of us by the afternoon. However, some showers bubbling up, and these could turn particularly heavy across the Midlands. Another mild day as well, highs of 15 or 16 degrees, so above average for the time of year.
That warm feeling inside from Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
We've got cash, treats and a spring shopping spree to be won in a great British giveaway. You could win an amazing £12,345 in tax-free cash. Plus there's a further £500 of shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite store. We'll also give you a gadget package to use in your garden this spring. That includes a games console, a pizza oven and a portable smart speaker, so you can listen to GB News on the go. For another chance to win the vouchers, the treats and £12,345 in tax-free cash, text GBWIN to 84902. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. Or post your name and number to GB03 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 5 p.m. on Friday the 29th of March. Full terms and privacy notice at gbnews.com/win. Please check the closing time if watching or listening on demand. Good luck.
2024, a battleground year.
The year the nation decides.
As the parties gear up their campaigns for the next general election.
Who will be left standing when the British people make one of the biggest decisions of their lives?
Who will rise?
And who will fall? Let's find out together. For every moment, the highs, the lows, the twists and turns.
We'll be with you for every step of this journey.
In 2024, GB News is Britain's election channel.
Join me, Camilla Tominey, every Sunday at 9:30 when I'll be interviewing the key players in British politics and taking them to task.
This report basically says that he's not fit to stand trial.
With an upcoming election looming over Westminster, now is the time for clear, honest answers.
I agree.
And that's precisely what I'll get.
Is he indecisive? Incompetent?
That's the Camilla Tominey Show at 9:30 every Sunday on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's election channel.
GB News is the home of free speech. We were created to champion it, and we deliver it day in, day out.
Free speech allows us all to explore and debate openly the issues most important to us, our families, and of course, the British people.
Having challenging conversations to enlighten each other.
Which is why we hear all sides of the argument.
We are the People's Channel.
We will always stand by the freedom to express yourself.
On TV, radio and online.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Big news, big debates, big opinion. Patrick Christie's Tonight is the week's biggest show. Every weekday, 9 to 11 p.m, we've got the inside track on the day's top stories. There'll be sharp takes you won't get anywhere else. We will set the news agenda, not just follow it, and I want to bring you along for the ride. Whatever it is, we'll have our finger on the pulse. It's news, but it's this close to entertainment. Patrick Christie's Tonight, 9 to 11 p.m, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning, I'm Peter Andre alongside Ellie Costello, who's just broken a nail.
I did.
And this is Saturday Morning Live.
Yeah, it's very dramatic here this morning. But very good to have your company. And we have got an action-packed show for you, don't we? We'll have all of the day's top stories with our panel, the CEO and founder of the Youth Vote UK, Alex Cairns, and entrepreneur and social commentator, Joanna Jarju.
And quantity over quality, that's the question being asked to the rising number of women who are having children later on in life when it comes to fertility.
And of course, we'll get you all of your latest showbiz news. Obviously, a big news of the week is the lineup for Glastonbury. Ellie Phillips will be here giving us all the latest.
And Oritse Williams from JLS is joining us, dear friend of mine. He's been hard working on this new album, this new song that's out, which embraced both his African Caribbean culture and London upbringing, and we can't wait to have him on. Great guy.
And of course, remember, we want to hear from you. This show is nothing without you, so do keep us company. You can email us gbnews@gbnews.com.
But before we do anything else, Tatiana Sanchez has all your news headlines. How do you know?
Peter, Ellie, thank you. Your top stories from the GB Newsroom. Economy Minister Vaughan Gething has been elected as the Welsh Labour leader and he'll succeed Mark Drakeford as the First Minister of Wales. He beat his only rival, the Education Minister Jeremy Miles, today. He also becomes the first black leader in any European country. Mr Gething won't take over as First Minister until Wednesday, when a vote will be held in the Senedd. After 25 years of devolution, he says he remains committed to the cause.
Today, we turn a page in the book of our nation's history. A history that we write together. Not just because I have the honour of becoming the first black leader in any European country, but because a generational dial has jumped too. Like Ken and Jane, devolution is not something that I have had to get used to, or to adapt to, or to apologise for. Devolution, Welsh solutions to Welsh problems and opportunities, is in my blood.
Tory MPs have reportedly held secret talks to oust the Prime Minister and install Penny Mordaunt as leader of the Conservatives. According to The Telegraph, a meeting has taken place between a group of right-wing Tories and MPs who supported Ms Mordaunt in the previous two leadership elections. This comes after a week that saw former Tory Deputy Chairman Lee Anderson join the Reform UK party and Rishi Sunak rule out a general election in early May. Senior political analyst at Orthodox Conservatives David Moore told GB News this morning the change might be what's needed to boost public confidence.
The Conservative Party have had so many leaders. I think people are frustrated, the membership is frustrated, the voters are frustrated, in fact apathetic. A lot of voters are very worried about getting out to vote at the moment, and we need some certainty, quite frankly, and we need strong Conservative leadership. Now, some people think and see Penny Mordaunt as a vehicle for that. With a strong background in defence. At the moment, a lot of people are very unhappy at the moment, and the membership especially. But at the moment, the general election is looming. This could be in May, this could be in October, but the Conservatives need to come into that election united.
Sadiq Khan has issued a plea for Lib Dems and Green supporters to back him as he seeks a third term as the Mayor of London. In a pitch to fellow progressives, Mr Khan's launching what he describes as a love letter campaign as he visits Kingston in southwest London to persuade supporters of other parties to lend him their votes in the election. The Mayor said he was under no illusion about his chances, saying he could lose to the Conservative Susan Hall due to changes in the voting system. Thousands of shoppers won't get their online groceries delivered today. Sainsbury's have announced that they can't fulfil most of their online orders because they're experiencing technical difficulties. The company also says that some stores are also affected and they're working hard to fix the issue. And finally, traffic is already building up with the first ever planned daytime closure of the M25. Drivers have been warned to stay away from a 5-mile stretch in Surrey between junctions 10 and 11, which has been shut until 6 a.m. on Monday morning. It's the first scheduled daytime all-lane shutdown on the M25 since it opened in 1986. Travel expert Simon Calder says it needs to be done.
The main problem is that A3 M25 junction, just a couple of miles away from here. When it was built in the 1980s, it was fine, but now there's so much traffic using it, and 80% of the traffic on the A3 wants to switch to the M25. You're always getting hold-ups there, very high accident rate there, and so therefore, to clear it all up, they're going to widen things, give people extra opportunities to join and leave the motorways.
For the latest stories, you can sign up to GB News Alerts by scanning the QR code on your screen, or you can go to gbnews.com/alerts. Now it's back to Ellie and Pete.
Thanks, Tatiana. Now we're going to be joined by a very exciting guest later on in the show. That's Oritse Williams from JLS, a dear friend of mine. As he's launching a solo music career, he says will bring him back to his roots.
Yes, we're going to be sitting down with Oritse just after 11:30 to hear all about what's happening next in his career. Now, stay home this weekend and decorate your bathrooms or something. That is the advice being given to thousands of drivers following the unprecedented closure of the M25, with many anticipating gridlock traffic over the weekend.
Drivers are being warned to stay away from a 5-mile stretch in Surrey between junctions 10 and 11, which is now shut until 6 a.m. on Monday.
Well, it's the first scheduled daytime all-lane shutdown of the M25 since it first opened in 1986.
Well, GB News reporter Ray Addison is there right now. So, Ray, tell us what's going on and how people are feeling about this, because it doesn't look too bad at the moment.
Yeah, I'm stood alongside the A320, which takes us through the leafy village of Ottershaw in Surrey. This is part of that diversion that we've been talking about between M25, junction 10 and 11. Now, there's about 3,000 people live here in this village. They were warned that up to 6,000 vehicles could be travelling along this road every hour in both directions, and that did cause some concern. However, so far, although we've seen an increase in lorries, they say there's been less cars than they expected. This is what locals had to say.
Well, it might do, and a lot of people were worried. Obviously, I've just done the local park run that you normally have 100 or plus. There's probably only 50 today where people haven't driven. So, yeah, I'd be more concerned about the ambulance just down the road there, that they're able to get out if there's any problems.
Oh, I haven't got a problem. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Every day. Close it every day.
Why?
What? Well, because there's no traffic. We can go anywhere. My wife got to work in 15 minutes this morning.
Yes, absolutely. I've just been to Addlestone and back. Addlestone is one of the areas which is supposed to have been diverted through to increase the amount of traffic. I won't say it's completely deserted, but for a Saturday morning it is. There is no queue down to the roundabout here on the Chobham Road. Normally you've got about 10 or 11 cars queuing up. Nothing. What has happened is that publicity is put out to people, don't travel, and they're not.
So as we're hearing there, some concerns about the local ambulance station, which is up the road there. So far, though, nothing has materialised. South East Coast Ambulance saying if we do come through, please get out of our way. But so far, no heavy disruption here in Ottershaw.
Yeah, Ray Addison, so far, so good. Let's hope it stays that way. Thank you very much indeed. Now, this morning we are delighted to be joined by the CEO and founder of the Youth Vote UK, Alex Cairns, and entrepreneur and social commentator, Joanna Jarju, on our panel. Very good to see you both this morning. And should we start with a totally different story this morning? This is Louis Walsh, and if you're watching this year's series of Celebrity Big Brother, you will know what Louis Walsh has been talking about. It is the fact that he's been diagnosed, or he's had a battle with a rare blood cancer, and nobody knew anything about it. Joanna?
Yeah, I mean, we all kind of remember Louis, don't we, from X Factor, and he's a very much loved character. Louis always used to be the one that would kind of take all the kooky acts and all the quirky ones. So it's kind of sad to know that, you know, somebody who's that lively on camera, and we know him as this kind of beloved character that's always been in our living rooms, to have been going through something like this. But obviously it's incredibly brave for him to actually share something so private about this diagnosis that he had, but also, you know, when things like this happen with people who are public figures, it also brings a lot of awareness, and a lot of people have been watching Big Brother. We're obviously talking about it now, and this is a type of blood cancer that I'd never heard about. So I always kind of appreciate when people like him come forward and share their kind of health stories.
I mean, it is incredible, isn't it, really, what it would do to raise awareness for people?
For sure, and I think it's really important, because I think quite often people watch these programmes and it can be a little bit silly and arguments and stuff, but actually when someone that's got a lot of media attention like Louis Walsh talks about this, a lot of people start to think, you know, cancer research do a lot of good work. You know, a lot of people in my family have been through cancer. It's a tough illness for anyone to go through, and actually, you know, a lot of people might go onto their website and research it and might think, you know, I'm going to donate. So good on him for being courageous to talk about it.
Yeah, ironically, he's done it at a time where he's caused so much controversy, and so everyone's been talking about him. So actually, him saying it now is great because everyone's listening. But man, has he been controversial? Putting this terrible thing aside, he's been controversial, hasn't he?
He has. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not shocked that he's doing that. He's a very Marmite figure, you know. You know, a lot of us have seen what Jedward have been saying about Louis Walsh behind the scenes. You know, he's a very kind of, a lot of people say he's quite a nasty figure. You know, he's been in the show business a long time. He knows how to get certain people to do certain things, and I think he's great for the programme though, because you know that's what we want, right? We want reality TV to be exactly how it is. You know.
Here's a bit of a story for you.
Yeah.
I was in the dressing room one day, and Louis Walsh was in there. There was about 7 of us in there, and he started telling me things that if I were going to tell everybody, I could write a whole book on it.
Oh, really?
I won't, but I'm like, he was just telling me casually all these things. I'm going, OK. So he's not scared to say...
What, was that about himself or about other people?
No, just about... I mean, I heard some things.
Spill, we're all here, we want to know.
I speak Greek, I don't speak English.
That's actually one thing that I thought in terms of casting for Celebrity Big Brother, they did a really good job getting Sharon and Louis in there. We're getting all the Hollywood gossip, you know, who they like, who they don't like, and I think that's been great.
That was good,
Yeah, and no, that has been really interesting actually this year. So what is Louis Walsh like as a character? You know, you're not done. We're not done with you.
To be honest, he's always been lovely.
Lovely to you, but everyone's lovely to you because you're so lovely.
That's true.
But yeah, he's got some stories.
Just give us a little nugget.
You've heard the tiniest bit here.
Is he a colourful character?
Colourful, yes.
That's how you.
But when you said he's like Marmite, you've got to think you can put a bit of Marmite in your bolognese and it tastes good.
Or a bit toast. Lovely.
Yeah. Anyway, there's something I wanted to talk about. This is I don't know why I'm bringing this up, but it's on The Guardian, page 8. Mushrooms for tampons. Now, let me just explain. Ocado customers were the least likely to have received a substitution, 17%. But it still managed that 17% had ordered tampons but got mushrooms instead. Now, I'm a bit confused about this, because obviously there's not mushroom...
Yeah, very good. You're saying if you use a mushroom... What were you trying to say?
Well, I don't understand the concept.
That's not mushroom. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, no, you know exactly what I mean. I just don't get the concept of that.
It's supermarket swaps, but it's supermarket swaps when it goes wrong, right? Because you can't put a mushroom, you know.
Yeah, but someone like me reading that would think, oh, is it a substitution?
No.
That's what I'm saying.
Let me tell you now, you cannot put a mushroom.
Right.
And I'll second that.
Where a tampon should be, and Joanna can back me up on that one. So
I'll second that.
Why did I bring this one up? I just saw it and I was like, what?
It clearly caught your eye this morning.
The expert on the topic.
I know.
But you can get some really random swaps, can't you, in your supermarket swaps when they do this? So it's when you're ordering online and they don't have the item that you want, so they give you a substitute item.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be very, very random.
Yeah, so I actually used to work part-time at Waitrose, and I remember we used to have to do this, and it was quite stressful. And I'll be honest, at times, sometimes, let's say, you know, if they don't have strawberries, you might just think, oh, let me put raspberries in, but just don't understand how it's a completely different item, will be different hours.
Like... Supermarket swaps. Supermarket swaps.
I mean, because Sainsbury's are having a bit of a problem at the moment, aren't they, where all their...
Tech's gone down.
Their tech's gone down. So it's going to be anyone wanting mushrooms as a substitute. It's not going to happen today.
You're not going to get anything, probably.
Nothing.
But if they get it tomorrow, they might be able to taste the difference.
Very good. Very, very good.
He's going to love that.
He's delighted with himself. Delighted. No, but this is serious, isn't it? So this is the vast majority of online deliveries today will not be able to be fulfilled, says Sainsbury's, because they've suffered technical issues at some stores. I mean, this is the thing. Technology is great. Whilst it works, Joanna.
Exactly. And actually, when I saw the mushroom versus tampon thing, the first thing I thought was, oh, God, you know, when it gets to a point where there isn't people, you know, like Alex years ago who are actually packing it manually, when it becomes just machines, just AI, well, I don't really know how AI actually would pick. You know, put a correlation between a tampon and a mushroom. That would be very, very bad in terms of the AI's actual capability. But it just kind of shows how reliant we are on technology.
Yes.
And I've been really guilty of being one of those people that's like, fine, if we're going to have a cashless society, I only ever have my iPhone, everything's Apple Pay, everything's done through my phone. But actually, when it goes down, it's a disaster. And we saw it as well yesterday with McDonald's as well, their IT systems going down, and then also this. It really does cause chaos. And then everybody gets on Twitter. It's a bit like when Instagram goes down as well. Everyone runs to Twitter and complains. So it can be, you know, quite bad.
Are we too reliant on technology, especially in our shops, do you think?
I think we are, but I still wouldn't get rid of it. You know, I would still, you know, love to go in that direction because it happens once in a blue moon. I never carry cash anyway, and it's a small inconvenience, maybe one day in a year for a whole load of convenience.
It's so interesting what you said, because it just dawned on me that the other day my daughter Princess, she said to me, "Oh no, Instagram's gone down." I was like, "And?" Well, it's not on. I said, "I know, I get what you mean, but what's the problem?" Well, it's down. Like it was a huge world issue, and you know, times have changed like that. Because I would have never. I mean, in our day, I can't believe I'm actually saying that. But you know what I mean? That would have never been. If your phone line was down, you just go, the phone line's down.
I know.
Go outside and play.
But we have this expectation, don't we, now, for everything to be instantaneous and there and available for us. And you couldn't just be like, well, I'll go for a walk instead or I'll read a book.
Yeah.
Well, it's our generation, right? And I think, you know, I actually know what you're talking about. The other day, I'll be honest, I'm guilty of this. Like, I went onto Instagram and I was like, why is it not working? Like, what am I going to scroll through now? Like, and then you just go to TikTok, luckily. But I mean, like, it is ridiculous, isn't it?
The worst thing.
TikTok instead.
I've done this before, and I don't know if anyone else has ever done this, but when I've been looking at a book or something, I've done that. I've gone to widen that picture. Honestly.
You've gone to widen the text on a book.
Is it the age?
And I'm really, really guilty of watching TV, but also scrolling. I can't. I'll be watching a series, be into it, and I have to be.
So bad.
Yeah. I've even heard of the triple screens now, especially on a weeknights. People have the big telly on, the laptop screen, and then they have the phone.
Well, that's
okay, maybe that's me as well.
Yeah,
that's these Apple VR things that they're talking about. You can have like multiple screens.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
It's mad.
Very briefly, plans for Paddy's Day? Are we doing anything? Johnny, you're in your green, very Irish.
Oh, yeah, I am actually. Got the memo.
Got the memo?
Got the memo.
I missed the memo.
Yeah, no, I never really usually celebrate Paddy's Day, but I went to Newcastle University, and there's a lot of people from Belfast that go to Newcastle. Really? So it used to be a massive kind of thing. Obviously, they celebrate, but that's just kind of as far as it goes. I've tried Guinness once. Can't say I loved it.
Now, interesting you say that, because there's a story in the papers today, it's on the Daily Mail, saying it tastes better with Irish music. So were you in an Irish pub at the time? Because I think it makes a difference.
I was, actually. I was in Belfast the first time that I tried Guinness. But I can imagine this actually being a thing. Because obviously, if you go to certain restaurants, you get certain pairings with kind of food. It's about the ambience and it's about the smells and whatever. And sometimes, you know, the environment can transport you. So maybe it transports you into the most Irish, I don't know.
I'm afraid we're out of time. Otherwise, I'll ask you about Guinness, Alex. But I'm sure you're going to have a lovely weekend.
We have
whatever you're up to. And try the Guinness cake as well. It's amazing. Alex and Joanna, thank you very much indeed.
Right, still to come, we're going to be joined by iconic JLS band member Oritse Williams.
Yes, but up next, quality over quantity. And how does that apply to your fertility rate? This is Saturday Morning Live on GB News.
Nana Queer, weekends from 3 p.m.
So after his mad dash to see his father last week, Prince Harry predictably went on TV to talk about it. He gave his first interview to Good Morning America, whilst apparently being filmed by a crew that were doing a documentary on the Invictus Games. He didn't disclose his father's diagnosis, but frankly, even the fact that he was on TV talking about it was concerning. No wonder they're keeping him at arm's length. This is what he said.
How did you get the news that the king was ill?
I spoke to him.
And what did you do next?
I jumped on a plane and went to go and see him as soon as I could.
How was that visit for you emotionally?
Look, I love my family. The fact that I was able to get on a plane and go and see him and spend any time with him, I'm grateful for that.
An illness in the family can have a galvanizing or sort of reunifying effect for a family.
Absolutely.
Is that possible in this case?
Yeah, I'm sure. Throughout all these families, I see it on a day-to-day basis. The strength of the family unit coming together.
He also said that he loves his family, but then he said that he had his own family in America. So which family does he love? The late Queen's last few years of life were marred with accusations of racism, which Harry later backtracked on, claiming that they hadn't actually used the word, so inadvertently admitting to gaslighting us all. But the Sussex's stock is falling in the States, and the only thing that makes them interesting is their proximity to the royal family. And now the king is ill, Harry has even offered to muck in and take on official duties to help his father. Look, I want to see reconciliation and love and joy, but I'm afraid Meghan has yet to even speak to her father as far as we know, and Harry didn't apparently even reach out to his brother. Whilst his dad might fall for it, I doubt William will be as soft. Good luck with that, Harry.
I'm Christopher Hope.
And I'm Gloria Di Piero, bringing you
PMQ's Live here on GB News.
Whenever Parliament is in session on a Wednesday at midday, we'll bring you live coverage of Prime Minister's questions. We'll be asking our viewers and listeners to submit the questions that they would like to put to the Prime Minister, and we'll put that to our panel of top politicians in our Westminster studio.
That's PMQ's Live here on GB News, Britain's election channel.
I think the most exciting bit for me is talking to people.
People who I think are ignored often by the major news channels. We're going to give news they want to hear. There's a voice there that needs to be heard. I think there's a chance here for a diversity of opinion to be expressed, which you don't find elsewhere. It's really exciting.
We don't hold back. We're free to say how decisions that are taken here
affect us all around the country. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Saturday Morning Live. We love getting your emails. We've had so many this morning, haven't we?
We have, talking about the royals photo. Now, Jen says we should leave Kate alone. I agree with you, Jen. The surgery was obviously major, and has anyone thought that the reason the palace aren't telling us is it may be frightening for the children to know what their mum had done? Good point.
Maybe that's a good point. Do keep them coming in. On shopping, and this news that the supermarket chain Sainsbury's, their tech has gone down today. So if you've got an online delivery with Sainsbury's, probably not going to be delivered today. We've also been talking about substitutions in online shops and swaps that are done when your item isn't in stock. Pauline says, I once ordered sanitary towels and Sainsbury's sent me fabric conditioner. Still trying to find out the logic on that one. Very good. Yes.
Yeah, and on Scotty's Little Soldiers, Duncan says here, it's lovely to see someone thinking of children's minds in a positive way, especially nowadays. These children are also veterans and should be treated like heroes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, do keep those views coming in. Really, really good to hear from you this morning. And now we're talking about women having babies at a later age, aren't we, this morning?
We are. Tana Ramsey, Victoria Coren Mitchell and Miranda Kerr are just some of the women in the limelight that are having children at an older age.
Yes, culture, society and the economy has changed so much over the past few years. Now births among women over 50 has risen by 15%, would you believe? So, is it really as simple as quantity over quality when it comes to your fertility? Well, to answer this, we are joined by fertility and nutrition coach Claire Innes. Really good to see you this morning, Claire. And we're talking about quantity over quality, or more quality over quantity, because if women are waiting longer to have children, and we know that they are, you have much fewer eggs, but your message is it's about the quality of them.
Yep, absolutely. So my message is the quantity, the amount of eggs you have is completely out with your control. We can do nothing about that. But the quality, yes, that does decline over age, but the 3 months before an egg is ovulated is pivotal. And we can make massive lifestyle changes the 3 months before an egg is ovulated to improve its quality. Improving egg quality does 2 really important things. It improves the chance of it actually becoming an embryo, and it adds extra protection against miscarriage. So it's massive, and I can't believe everyone isn't talking about this.
Yeah, I feel like that's not something that's out there in the public realm. So it's actually the 3 months before you're looking to conceive that you should be really focusing on your health. What can women be doing at that time?
My favourite question. So there's lots of lifestyle things that they can do, and the reason I'm so passionate about this is they don't need a prescription. It's things that they can do for themselves. So managing their nutrition really well, making sure they're getting the right dietary fats. So dietary fats, especially the unsaturated ones, they help us create hormones. It's all about getting our body in this lovely homeostasis to have a baby. So we want to make really healthy eggs. We want to eat properly, good, lean protein, as close to the Mediterranean diet as possible, and the right supplements as well. So most women will go gung-ho and they'll have a week of taking everything and eating lettuce and everything organic, and it's, massaged by virgins and it's all wonderful. You don't need to do that. You just need to be consistent with the important things. Keep hydrated, eat your vegetables. Don't kid yourself on you're eating vegetables. Actually eat your vegetables. And just be nice to yourself.
And what about contraception? I mean, is that damaging if you're taking contraception?
No. So the barrier method is absolutely not damaging because that's not affecting hormones at all. And for the vast majority of women, contraception is not going to make a difference to their long-term fertility. There's going to be the odd exception, but it's really not something that you need to worry about. Contraception is right when it's right. If you don't want to have a baby, don't stress about that. So many women that I work with are riddled with guilt because they were on contraception, or maybe they used to smoke and they blame themselves.
But that must be a strange mind shift for women that you work with, where they've spent their whole lives trying not to get pregnant, being on contraception, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, I do want a baby now, and then all of a sudden they have to switch their body around. And can your body do that? Can your body just switch itself from obviously not conceiving to being open to conceive?
Well, it can't do it overnight. A full ovulatory cycle takes a month for most women. If women are thinking of having a baby in the short term, definitely come off contraception 3 to 6 months before you want to actually start trying. But the mind shift does happen that quickly. Like, literally, so many women I work with, they've spent their whole life terrified of getting pregnant, and then they just wake up one morning and they see babies everywhere. And that's all they can think about.
Is that nature, do you think? Because my mum said a similar thing. She had me later on in life, but she was a career woman. Well, still is, but
good for her.
Was a career woman, yeah. And she wanted to put it off as late as she could. And she said it was literally an overnight thing. She went from not wanting children at all to, I need to be a mother.
Yeah.
And then you just expect your body to keep up with that.
And they don't recognise themselves either. The stories they're used to telling and not noticing kids and just not being bothered, and all of a sudden they're just... And I must have a baby, I need a baby right now.
I think it shows just how amazing the human body is.
Yeah. You must see that with Emily now.
What's that?
She's just the most incredible mother, isn't she? It looks like, I don't know what she's like at home, but when I've seen her, it looks like it doesn't faze her in the slightest. She's the most natural mother, the most beautiful bump. Takes it all in her stride.
Yeah, she is. I've got nothing to complain about. Thank you very much. And thank you, Claire. Thank you so much. So lots more to come on the show today, including meeting the amazing Oritse Williams from Jailers. I wasn't cutting you off, by the way.
Oh, no,
that was interesting. Thank you. Hearing all about his latest venture. This is Saturday Morning Live on GB News, Britain's news channel.
You're all right. You're forgiven. Oh, you do.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Now, I'm sure you have seen this video that went viral this week, and if you haven't, well, I think you're going to enjoy it. This is a firefighter leaning on a fence whilst watching a trapped driving instructor's car sink in 4 feet of floodwater. Looks very comfortable there, doesn't he? Just leaning against the fence.
Just chilling, just relaxing. Yeah, there were two. There were, in fact, 2 Essex fire and rescue crews, an ambulance and a police car parked near the sinking vehicle, but they wouldn't enter the water because they had to wait for specialist crews who were trained for the water depth.
Well, 2 people who weren't going to sit back and watch were these 2, Jack and Danielle Price, who took it upon themselves to rescue the submerged driver. And Danielle joins us now. Very good morning to you, Danielle, and you are a hero, an absolute hero. What happened in this video? Make sense of it for us.
So we were filming in the area for our YouTube channel, and we've seen the fire brigade come through. I was actually out at 5 o'clock in the morning with my husband, Jamie. We know it always happens there, as you can see, and it was clear. We've seen the fire brigade come through, we've followed them, and they're just standing around as if nothing's happened. In the clip, it says he's fine, he's on his phone, and then sort of walked away. But what they failed to realise is when my partner actually opened the door, as you can hear, he's on the phone to the emergency crew in panic, thinking he's going to sink. So we could not just sit there and watch. He's absolutely terrified.
Yeah, poor bloke. Well done you. Do you reckon this is health and safety gone mad?
It is, because although I do sympathise with them, they are so red-taped, but surely sort of common sense has to kick in as open the door.
Big news, big debates, big opinion. Patrick Christie's Tonight is the week's biggest show. Every weekday, 9 to 11 p.m, we've got the inside track on the day's top stories. There'll be sharp takes you won't get anywhere else. We will set the news agenda, not just follow it, and I want to bring you along for the ride. Whatever it is, we'll have our finger on the pulse. It's news, but it's this close to entertainment. Patrick Christie's Tonight, 9 to 11 p.m, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I'm Michelle Dewberry, and I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'd much rather hear what you have to say. So, send in your opinions to gbviews@gbnews.com. Keep them clean, and you never know, I might read them out. With my panel here on Jubes & Co, we debate, we get stuck into the issues of the day on a show where all views are welcome, especially yours. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Your top stories from the GB newsroom. Economy Minister Vaughan Gething has been elected as the Welsh Labour leader, and he'll succeed Mark Drakeford as the First Minister of Wales. He beat his only rival, the Education Minister Jeremy Miles, with just over 51% of the vote. He also becomes the first black leader in any European country. Mr Gething won't take over as First Minister until Wednesday, when a vote will be held in the Senate. Tory MPs have reportedly held secret talks to oust the Prime Minister and install Penny Mordaunt as the leader of the Conservatives. According to The Telegraph, a meeting has taken place between a group of right-wing Tories and MPs who supported Ms Mordaunt in the previous two leadership elections. This comes after a week that saw former Tory Deputy Chairman Lee Anderson join the Reform UK party and Rishi Sunak rule out a general election in early May. Thousands of shoppers won't get their online groceries delivered today. Sainsbury's have announced that they can't fulfil most of their online orders because they're experiencing technical difficulties. The company also says that some stores are affected and they're working hard to resolve the issue. And traffic's already building up with the first ever planned daytime closure of the M25 since it opened in 1986. Drivers have been warned to stay away from a 5-mile stretch in Surrey between junctions 10 and 11, which has been shut until 6 o'clock on Monday morning. For the latest stories, you can sign up to GB News Alerts by scanning the QR code on your screen, or you can go to gbnews.com/alerts. Right, it's time for your weekly dose of Showbiz News. And we're delighted to have Showbiz journalist Ellie Phillips, who is glowing.
I love you guys when you say that.
You look amazing.
Glowing. It is all the makeup, but I'll take it right now. This pregnant mama is like, I'm ready for all the compliments. It's okay.
Before we get into this, me and you just had a little chat. I hope you don't mind.
Yeah.
We were talking about
Sleeping.
how, you know, when you sleep, you can't sleep on your back because of the
You
pregnancy.
cannot lie on your back. Like, your body's just like, absolutely not. No, it's actually quite dangerous for the baby because and it pushes down on parts of the body that kind of help get to the baby. But you physically can't, so you have to sleep on your side.
And so we as husbands go to spoon our wives and we're putting our arms around their belly and you can tell they're thinking, can you get your hands off
me?
Can you leave me alone?
Yeah. And I was saying, we have a massive pregnancy pillow thing. My husband can't even get to me. I have like a fort. There is a fort built around me. I'm like, do not touch me.
That is so funny. I love the fact you guys are going through this at the same time.
Yeah, I know.
And you
I really can't say I'm going through anything.
Well, yeah, but you're like not far off now. It's so exciting.
Yeah, I've only got 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Then you'll be back to normal.
Glastonbury. I know I've just completely changed the subject. Glastonbury. What are your thoughts on this week's lineup?
So
this year's lineup.
This year's lineup just been announced. So we've got Friday, we've got Dua Lipa. Saturday, we've got Coldplay, and Sunday we've got SZA. And then also the Legend slot, which isn't classed as one of the 3 headliners, but Shania Twain is taking the Legend.
I mean,
slot.
that's a great.
For me, Shania Twain, amazing.
I'm with you.
I think I've got every single one of her albums.
Yeah.
Seeing her live, not done it, incredible. Sadly, probably won't because I will probably be giving birth at the time.
Yes, you'll be birthing a
but
child.
I think for me, Shania Twain is great. People are feeling a little bit let down because it's the first time in history that 2 of the headline slots have been taken by women. But Dua Lipa, very much a pop artist, kind of everywhere at the moment. And
She's very good.
SZA isn't very well known over here, is amazing. She's just won the International Artist of the Year at the Brit Awards. She was the most nominated artist at this year's Grammys, so she is incredible. But people are like,
she's not a household name.
Exactly. And then to have Coldplay as the kind of male representatives, it's their 5th time headlining Glastonbury. So people are like, can't we get someone else? Come on.
Oh, I understand that. And I think when we were told that there'd probably be a focus on women this year, people thought Madonna.
Yes.
People thought, you know, real big. I'm not saying no shade to Dua Lipa, she's great, but she isn't a legend in the music industry yet, is she?
No, she's not earned that status yet. I mean, she's doing phenomenally well internationally around the world. Her live performances are incredible. I mean, this girl, like, if you watch her from even just a few years ago to where she is now, she's going to bring it. She's going to bring it. But I think when you look back on previous performances and you think of, you know, you've got like Sir Paul McCartney was there recently, Guns N' Roses, you know, huge, incredible performances. I don't know whether it lives up to that.
It's interesting, though, if you think of the 80s or 90s, even further back, 70s, 60s, probably because there wasn't as many artists, whoever was headlining something like that was not only a household name, they could not walk down the street without someone from 2 years old to 92 years old recognising them. You know, you think of people like Elvis, Michael Jackson, Madonna, you know, all of these guys. And I guess now there's so many artists that, you know...
And also it's so accessible now because you don't have to physically go to watch them in a concert. You can see them a lot on television. You know, they're pumping out music all the time. There are so many. I mean, there are fewer festivals this year. 20 have actually been cancelled, but previously there have been so many festivals where they play, so it wouldn't be like this one-off incredible occasion. Having said that, when it comes to headlining Glastonbury, every artist knows it's the pinnacle. So I'm excited for it because I think they will bring it. But personally, for me, Shania Twain.
I mean, that was a good get. Yeah, that would be absolutely incredible. I hope she comes in a horse, like we've seen her do in Las
it would be
Vegas.
amazing. And she's already said, you know, I'm thinking of costumes, I'm thinking of staging and everything like that. The Madonna thing is a letdown, but rumours are that she was basically just too expensive. And she wanted her Madonna fee, and they were like, we pay about 200 grand for this. That's where we're at. She's like, nah.
But they probably make 200 million.
Exactly. And also it's the exposure afterwards. But we'll see. I think it will still be really good. And I'm excited to watch at home.
And I'm sure there'll be more still to be announced as well. And you might have a bubba by that time. You both have bubbas by that time.
Sitting watching at home with the little headphone things that you can get them to protect their ears. Oh my God, okay, right.
Ellie, should we talk about the BAFTA TV Awards?
So this week, the nominees, 6 nominees, were announced for the P&O Cruises Memorable Moments. So this previously, one that's won it that I think stands out to most people was Rose Ayling-Ellis when she danced on Strictly Come Dancing, the silent dance. So it's moments like that that really captivated audience. So this is from last year, so from 2023. There are 6 nominated in this. You can enter now. Voting closes on the 9th of April. And it's if you go to BAFTA.org/moment, and you get a chance to win tickets to the ceremony, which is amazing. It's a fantastic ceremony to go to.
Now, I believe we have a clip of one of the nominees. Oh, no, it's a float, I'm afraid. It is from the Beckham documentary.
Yes. So the Beckham documentary on Netflix, everyone will know this, even without having to hear it, see it. It's when David Beckham kind of takes the mick out of Victoria Beckham about her working class upbringing, and he forces her to admit that her dad drove a Rolls Royce when she was younger and took him to school. And everyone...
Tell the truth, isn't it? Or be honest, be honest.
Pushes it, and everyone was like, do you know what? He needs to grill politicians because he's not leaving without the truth there. So that was really good.
And do you know what, Ellie? That has become a cultural moment because even this morning, you weren't there. I was doing a video with Georgia about you and how lovely it is to work with you. And Jake, our floor manager, was going, be honest, and was doing the David Beckham. So it has become this moment.
This is what it is. It's these moments.
All right, Pete, drop me off in a Rolls Royce.
Yeah, exactly how it really is. Other moments we've got Doctor Who for fans is when Nkuti Gatwa was revealed as the 15th Doctor, which was, again, an iconic moment. Happy Valley, if anyone's fans of that, it's when there's a final showdown.
This, for me, is the winner.
That one is for you.
Catherine and Tommy's final showdown in the kitchen. If you've watched Happy Valley, and let me tell you, if you haven't watched it, that is my recommendation to you. The best thing on TV ever, I think.
It's so intense.
It's an incredible scene.
It's
very intense.
Very intense, very brutal. Succession, I'm not going to say what happens in it because if you've not seen it, it's a massive spoiler, but it's one of the end bits of Succession. The Last of Us, when Bill and Frank share some wine, and one that I think will have the potential to do really well is The Piano. It's a Channel 4 series hosted by Claudia Winkleman, and it was when a 13-year-old blind girl called Lucy played to commuters in Leeds. The most incredible rendition of a Chopin piece, which is incredibly difficult, and basically brought everyone to tears because she was just so in the moment, and it was so perfect. There's a famous pianist called Lang Lang who was watching, and he was like, how is this possible? She's 13. How has she learnt this? How has she remembered this? How is she playing it so beautifully? It's that good that, like, generationally, like, my dad phoned me afterwards and was like, did you see Lucy? I love Lucy. So I think there's a lot of moments there, and I think what it shows is the range that you have on television in the UK at the moment is really, really good for people to see, and those moments that can either uplift you, break your heart, shock you, or make you laugh. Yeah, but voting for that is open now.
It's the power of television, isn't it? Ellie, really wonderful to see you today. Thank you so much for coming into the studio and bringing us lovely bump as well. You look amazing.
Thank you.
Do stay with us. We're going to be joined in the studio very soon by your friend, the member of boy band JLS, Oritse Williams. We're going to hear all about what the future holds for him as a solo artist. This is Saturday Morning Live on GB News.
Very exciting.
Hello, a very good morning to you. It is a beautiful start to the weekend out there for many of us, but not for all. It's already turning cloudy in the west, and there will be spells of rain and showers spreading across the country throughout the day. Now, Scotland, northern and eastern England keep the bright skies into the afternoon, but elsewhere we have got those showers and the thickening cloud. The rain most persistent across Northern Ireland, that persistent rain reaching parts of western Scotland by the middle of the afternoon, and certainly turning cloudy in many places. As a result, and after a fresh start to the day, it's not going to be as mild as it has been recently in the south, but it will be a touch milder across northern Scotland, feeling more pleasant with lighter winds and some bright spells. Nevertheless, overnight, those spells of rain across the country, heavy and persistent for a time, particularly across western hills. And by dawn, really, it's a showery picture with a lot of cloud in the sky and an increased breeze as well. So as a result, a frost-free start tomorrow. Temperatures of 9 or 10 Celsius first thing, but it will be a gloomy start with a lot of low cloud covering hills and coasts. And we're going to see those outbreaks of rain steadily push eastwards. By the afternoon, the clouds do lift and break up, and as a result, we'll see some brighter interludes, but we'll also see some heavy showers developing. Just about anywhere could see a hefty downpour, but Western Scotland and Northern Ireland seeing more persistent rain at times.
2024, a battleground year.
The year the nation decides.
As the parties gear up their campaigns for the next general election.
Who will be left standing when the British people make one of the biggest decisions of their lives?
Who will rise?
And who will fall?
Let's find out together.
For every moment, the highs, the lows, the twists and turns.
We'll be with you for every step of this journey.
In 2024, GB News is Britain's election channel.
GB News is the home of free speech. We were created to champion it, and we deliver it day in, day out.
Free speech allows us all to explore and debate openly the issues most important to us, our families, and of course, the British people.
Having challenging conversations to enlighten each other.
Which is why we hear all sides of the argument.
We are the People's Channel.
We will always stand by the freedom to express yourself.
On TV, radio, and online.
This is GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Big news, big debates, big opinion. Patrick Christie's Tonight is the week's biggest show. Every weekday, 9 to 11 p.m, we've got the inside track on the day's top stories. There'll be sharp takes you won't get anywhere else. We will set the news agenda, not just follow it, and I want to bring you along for the ride. Whatever it is, we'll have our finger on the pulse. It's news, but it's this close to entertainment. Patrick Christie's Tonight, 9 to 11 p.m, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Saturday Morning Live. Thank you so much for your company this morning. Just going to share a few of your emails. We're talking about a replacement for Rishi Sunak. Apparently, Penny Mordaunt is now the favourite. Graham from Brighton says, I believe that Penny Mordaunt would be the best next Tory PM. Whereas Elaine thinks that Suella Braverman would make an excellent PM. She says it how it is. She's outspoken and honest. And Dave, you could put a donkey in a blue rosette out in front of the Tories and it wouldn't make a blind bit of difference to the direction of this country. You do not mince your words, Dave. Thank you so much for your emails. Do keep them coming in.
Very excited about this, ladies and gentlemen, because our next guest, he's an icon. He's from a group that was an icon. Now he's an icon on his own. I am talking about this guy. Here's the music. I can't hear it.
Oh, I don't think it's going to play,
but it's
so
not
don't
going to
worry.
ears. Don't worry.
Oh, here we go. Put your hands up, everybody in love. Come put your hands up, everybody in love. Come put your hands up. Okay. Oritse, I know all the way.
Yeah, you got it, you got
yes.
it.
Okay, yes, okay. Well, we were doing that before the show as well. Yes, he is a member of the legendary boy band JLS, and we are so excited to be joined by him this morning. It is Oritse Williams.
Hey, guys.
Who has now announced the launch of his solo music career that we hear is bringing you back to your roots. It's really good stuff. So good to have you with us this morning.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
So good to see you.
First of all, you're a great friend, you're a dear friend, but you're an incredible songwriter, you know, and I don't think a lot of people have seen that from you yet. I mean, hearing the new stuff that you're doing, which is coming back to your roots, but the stuff you're writing is excellent.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm an independent artist now. For a very long time, obviously, I was part of the major label corporate structure, and I think for me now, I'm at this period of my life where this chapter of my life where I just really wanted to just completely be authentically myself. And in order to do that, sometimes you have to just kind of strip away a lot of, you know, the huge kind of commercial things around you and just pretty much just kind of have those quiet moments where you just write songs and write honestly how you feel from the heart and really kind of hear your own thoughts out loud. And yeah.
It's so amazing to see this side of you, because it's the first thing Pete said this morning. He said Oritse is an incredible songwriter, and you wouldn't think that because of, you know, your time in JLS. You think of you as a boy band, but you've had this passion for music since you were a little boy, haven't you? It's so personal to you.
Absolutely. I mean, music. The passion for music came because my mother was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis when I was 12 years old, and I became a young carer. And myself and my brother, we came up with a plan that I'd become a musician, he'd become a medical scientist, and together we would, you know, do our best to raise money and create opportunities for our mum. So that's where the passion for music came. And I'm very well travelled. A lot of people don't know, but I lived in the Caribbean for some time when I was a small boy, and I lived in Africa as well for some time, and I came back and forth from the UK. So, you know, I've had a lot of experience that a lot of people don't know about, and for me right now, doing this music it's for me to be able to show you who I truly am, that nobody really knows. They see me as the founder member of a group, but there's actually a lot of substance and life experience.
Well, I mean, this is it. Because we're going to play a clip of your new song in a minute, but when it comes to your songwriting side, and you was talking about how you now not with the big commercial corporate companies, going on your own. I mean, I've see you everywhere as if you were with a major big commercial company. So you're actually giving a bit of hope to a lot of artists out there that are so scared that if they don't get signed, they can't do anything. You know, you can go to a distribution label and release music yourself,
Absolutely.
Right?
So I'm releasing the music through SoundOn, which is TikTok's distributor. There's lots of options to be able to, you know, release music independently now and take advantage of those things. But it all comes down to making sure that you create the best music possible. This music that I'm now releasing, I've been working on for many, many years now. So it's not just something that I wrote the other day. And I've got many bodies of work. If I wanted to, I could release an album every month for the next decade. That's how much music I've got.
Well, Oritse, let's have a little listen to it, shall we, to your new sound. I think we do have a little clip.
We've got a clip that's playing at the moment, but we haven't got sound at the moment, but we're seeing it. But I've heard it, man. I love it.
Yeah.
Oritse, how did it make you feel going solo? I mean, it sounds as though you were absolutely buzzing. Was there any nerves from going from one of the most successful boy bands that this country has ever seen to going solo?
To be honest, it wasn't so much nerves. I think if I was looking to do, like, what I was doing with the boys by myself, then maybe. But I think for this is more of a soul-searching journey for me. So it's much more of a soul-searching going back to my roots journey. And, you know, obviously I've been through a lot of ups and downs, you know what I mean, in my life, from great highs, some great lows. And I think for me, like, just being in this space where I speak about things that I'm passionate about, I make music that I'm passionate about, you know, is crucial for me.
You know, before, because I want to touch on mental health as well, which I know you're a huge advocate for, but for example, you know, I was signed to Warner Brothers, I think it was about 13 years ago was the last time I released an album or something like that, I can't remember. And it did really well. And then when I wasn't with Warner Brothers, I was so scared to release music because I thought, well, I don't want to fail, I don't want to fail. And one of the things I noticed with what you're doing is actually you're saying, no, you can do it on your own.
Absolutely.
It's a very scary thing for someone who's been with a big company to do that. So I think that's really commendable because that gives hope for people. I'm not saying anyone wants to hear anything
Can I
new
just
from me.
say,
but I
can I
write
just
a lot of
say,
great-
and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Peter has got some incredible music, right? He is, trust me, secretly, people don't realise and give him the credit where credit's due. But you play me some records, and I literally had to turn it all the way up in the car.
Really?
My wife was like, "Who is that, babe?" I said, "That's Pete." She said, "It's Pete." She's like, "Wow."
But I don't have I never had the confidence to do it by myself, so I've always stayed back and gone, no, I won't do it. And,
Pete.
but actually, what Oritse did is excellent because he's given hope to people like myself. So thank you for that. I want to talk to you
I see a
about mental
collab coming down the track
Mate,
for
don't-
you two.
he sent me something amazing.
Oh,
We'll talk about
really?
that later.
Oh, well, this is still to come then. That's
Mental
good.
health, right? Now, it's a problem that's not just new. It's been going on forever. Men's mental health. Men are starting to talk a lot more. You've been through a lot of stuff that people don't know about.
Yeah, I mean, the last few years for me have been very, very difficult. People see me on tour, performing, making music, but myself and my wife, you know, we went through 2 miscarriages. You know, and you know, for us, that was a very devastating time and very difficult to know how to kind of process those emotions. And I guess as a man, I did the thing of bottling up my emotions, and where I feel comfortable to be able to express myself is in the studio, whereas, you know, she had obviously a different reaction to, you know, what happened to us, because not only was it happening to her mentally, psychologically, but it was happening to her physically as well. And I had seen her, you know, I'd been by her side and seen her go through hell and back, and together we went through that. And I think something that she really wanted to see from me was that sensitivity and that emotion. And I thought that as a man, being strong was trying to bottle up my emotions and just show her that, no, you know, that I'm being strong for her. But actually being strong is talking about it. And what's happened ever since I've started to talk about it is I've spoken to more men that have experienced baby loss, and together we've been able to cry together, we've been able to talk about our experiences together. I mean, when I first my wife forced out of me, you know, how do you feel? And I ended up as a mess on the floor. I was exasperating, crying, almost inconsolable. She was just holding me in her arms as we cried together, and we cried together. And I didn't realise I needed that release so badly. It just came out in floods of tears and emotions. And ever since, like I said, I've been able to speak to other men, and we've been able to cry together, and they shared their own experiences, which they did similar to me, where they thought being strong was not talking about it, getting on with work, getting on with life, and just trying to, you know, just soldier through. But actually, you know, as men, I feel like that conversation and that sensitivity and being able to be emotional together is everything. And I've never spoken about this before, but the reason why I feel comfortable now is because I'm with Peter. He's my friend.
And you're amongst friends.
He's my brother.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I feel like I'm in a safe space to be able to talk.
Well, you are, Oritse, and thank you so much for sharing that with us. Honestly, I think you're going to help so many men out there who feel like they can't speak and they can't share. And as you said, it's so important to feel like you're not alone, you're not going through that by yourself.
I appreciate that.
Oritse, thank you so much for coming in. Have we got a clip of his new music that we can share? Not,
I have to say,
we've got some
though,
technical issues.
I will say that I'm glad people are getting to hear you and see you, because I know you as a person, and you're a beautiful person.
Well, you are a
so
beautiful person.
I love that you're coming and you're being able to talk like this freely. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Oritse. Lovely to have you with us.
Friends for life, bro.
Absolutely.
Now,
Thank you.
I'm afraid it is the last Saturday Morning Live before Pete goes off to take some time off, as Emily is about to have her baby. She's due in the next couple of weeks, isn't she? So, Pete, I just wanted to give you a little something from the team, if you want to open that up and get that out. Just a little something to say goodbye and good luck. And thank you. And we can't wait to see a photo of little Bubba in that baby grow.
Guys,
congratulations.
Ellie is the best.
You are the best.
You are the best co-presenter ever.
It is wonderful to work with you. Good luck to you and Emily. Congratulations. And Pip Thompson is up next. Take care.
Thank you for having me, guys.
A brighter outlook with Box Solar, sponsors of weather on GBNews.
Good afternoon. Welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. So a cloudier afternoon for most of us, with rain very much on its way across the UK. This all due to an area of low pressure moving its way towards the UK through the rest of Saturday and into the start of Sunday. So those cloudier skies across much of the UK and some heavy rain for Northern Ireland, Wales and parts of southwest England that will push its way into parts of Scotland through this evening, turning particularly heavy across southern areas and even some snow for the hills. There'll be a brief drier interlude across the southern half of the UK before further rain pushes its way north and eastwards into the early hours of Sunday morning, leaving a very mild night, lows of only around 10 or 11 degrees across much of England and Wales. Across parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland, though, a bit of a chillier start to Sunday and some brighter skies, so some sunshine as we go through Sunday morning. Further south across England and Wales, once that rain clears its way eastwards, there'll be some sunshine developing here too, particularly as we head into the afternoon. However, there will be some showers bubbling up, and these could turn particularly heavy across the Midlands. Another very mild day, temperatures widely above average for the time of year, with highs of 15 or 16 degrees. Monday starts a little drier again for most of us. A band of rain slowly pushes its way eastwards through Monday morning, leaving a dry and bright afternoon for most of us. Plenty of sunshine on offer and temperatures still remaining above average for the time of year. It'll be a changeable rest of the week with further interludes of rain and some drier spells, and those temperatures staying above average.
Looks like things are heating up. Boxed boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Want to be a winner?
You've won £18,000.
I'm flipping heck. I don't know what to say.
Enter our massive spring giveaway with 3 big seasonal prizes to be won. There's £12,345 in